WPNG TV, this is Action News at 5.
Well, the snow began falling at around 6 this morning and hasn't stopped yet. We'll tell you how the roads are if you have to venture out tonight. And all the snow piling up is beginning to cause an issue for snow removal. It's a growing problem. Plus, new evidence is revealed in the death of a SUNY Broome professor. But first, maybe a break for some of us.
Yeah, we're seeing a little bit of a break in some of that heavy snow in portions of the area. I'll talk about that in a few minutes, but we still have a winter storm warning in effect for basically counties along and east of I-81. That's going to be through 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. We still have another shot of heavier snow, I think, moving into the forecast later tonight. I'll talk about that as well. The rest of this evening, some light snow to at times heavy snow. Temperatures dropping into the mid-20s, but that snow will taper from west to east into the overnight, and I'll have more details coming up.
Good evening, I'm Dave Graber. Let's get right to our team coverage of yet another storm that's piling up throughout the Twin Tiers, especially along local roads. Our Erica Mahoney is live at the Gateway Inn in Kirkwood. So, Erica, how are the roads out there where you are?
Dave, second big snowstorm in 2 weeks, so it's definitely taking a toll on people and especially travelers. Like you said, I'm here at the Gateway Inn, which is a rest stop just off of 81 North. I spoke to a family who was traveling from New Jersey, actually up to Greek Peak Ski Resort, and they said, you know, right now, just within the past hour or so, the roads haven't been too bad, but the exits have been pretty slippery, pretty slushy, and that adds up because, you know, I have my yardstick here. I've been out kind of measuring the snow. So far, only about 2 inches of accumulation here, but if you notice behind me, you'll see this really big mound of snow. I'm sure a lot of you guys have been seeing this. That's because we're not fully recovered from last week's snowstorm. So snow and ice piling up, and you know, that's also piling up along highways and along the exit, so you definitely want to pay attention to that and to be careful. Coming up at about 5:30, I'm going to share advice from the Broome County Sheriff's Office on what they say you need to keep in mind for this particular snowstorm. For now, live in Kirkwood, I'm Erica Mahoney, Action News.
All right, Erica, thanks very much. Well, a truck carrying heating oil overturns in the town of Maine this morning, shutting down a section of Nanticoke Road. It happened around 9:40 in the area of 1362 Nanticoke Road. A Blue Ox Energy truck was delivering fuel to the home and backing into the driveway when the truck overturned. The driver was not injured. Fire departments from West Corners, Endicott, and Union Center responded, along with the Broome County Sheriff's Office. Nanticoke Road was closed this morning from Route 26 to the scene of the accident. Well, the snow continues to fall at this hour for most of us, and we're likely in for a pretty long night ahead. Our Matt Porter continues our team coverage in Vestal to tell us where people are putting all that snow. Matt.
Well, that's right, Dave. I'm here at the Parkway Plaza here in Vestal, where the snow is falling down at one of the better clips that I've seen all day today. Now, this snow is a very heavy snow and fine, which means that when you try to shovel it, it's going to be much harder to move than last week's snow, which was a little more fluffy. Now, of course, all this snow from last week and this week is adding up, and as you can see behind me, the question is, where are you going to put it all? Now, people I spoke with today and around their businesses and their homes say the piles are really starting to add up. Some of the snow mounds we saw today were 3 feet, 4 feet, even 5 feet high, which makes it difficult if you're trying to lift with a shovel and pile more snow on. Now, people out trying to clear the snow say the best thing for them is if this snow could just stop.
The piles are getting pretty high. Sooner or later, we're going to have some rain or something coming.
We probably lost at least one space there with that 10-foot pile of snow we have sitting there. And in my other location, we probably lost a couple different spaces. Just no place to put it.
Now, if you are clearing the snow out in front of your house, cities and towns are asking you, please pile the snow to the right. Don't pile it to the left back into the road, because if you do that, you're going to hurt yourself and your neighbor, because when the plow comes down the road, that snow is just going to end right back up on your curb or your neighbor's. Now, the state New York Department of Transportation said that there's a lot of snow on the roads, but it's still safe and all right. They said if the snow becomes too much on the side of the road, they do have trucks and a plan to bring those out, pile in the snow, and truck it somewhere safe. Now, we're going to continue to monitor how fast and how much snow is accumulating right here. Live in Vestal, Matt Porter, WBNG TV, Action News.
All right, Matt, thanks very much. The snow is handled a little bit differently in some of the smaller towns and villages in our region. Our Kevin McCarthy took a trip to the town of Masonville to tell us what they do to help keep the roads clear and people safe. Kelly.
Dave, Masonville's highway department has 3 full-time employees and 2 part-time. On days where heavy snowfall is expected, they're at full staff and hit the roads early. The town has 5 plows that cover more than 50 miles of road. Now, most of those roads are the smaller town roads that tend to be less traveled and more narrow. I took a ride along with the deputy highway superintendent, and he says they use sand on those town roads. That gives the roads more traction, but it doesn't help to melt the ice.
There's probably 8 roads on my route. It takes me anywhere from 2.5 hours to 3.5 hours, depending on what we do.
Of course, it's been like an old-fashioned winter. It's not been an easy one like the last 2 years. So we have been going out plowing more.
A travel advisory has been issued for all of Delaware County by the Sheriff's Office. That means until further notice, all unnecessary travel should be avoided for people in Delaware County. Masonville's Highway Department says the time of day they head out to plow usually depends on the school schedule. Today, Sydney Central School had an early dismissal, so the plows had to have the roads cleared by 11 a.m.
It makes it a little bit easier for a lot of communities now that most of them have that early dismissal for school. Thanks, Kelly. A witness to the death of longtime SUNY Broome professor Wes Warren told authorities the 2 were snorting heroin before Warren, quote, turned pale, vomited, and died. That person's name was blacked out in a report that Action News obtained from the Tioga County Sheriff's Department this afternoon. But the witness told investigators they were watching TV and drinking beer at Warren's home, and that Warren did 4 lines of heroin, and at some point he looked over and saw Warren's face turns pale. He could not wake him. The witness started CPR and called 911 just before 2 a.m. Sunday. Emergency responders continued to try to revive Warren, but called his death around 2:20. The witness then showed investigators 4 blue glassine packets stating they contained heroin. The family told SUNY Broome that Warren died of an apparent heart attack. Now, the Sheriff's Office says there's no official cause of death yet. That can't be determined until toxicology results come back, which could take weeks, and that the substance in the packets cannot accurately be tested until those results are known as well. We have recently received a report and a response from SUNY Broome. We hope to be bringing that to you this afternoon, coming up on Action News at 6 o'clock. Also this afternoon, we received word about a news conference from the Broome County Sheriff's Office addressing the local heroin problem scheduled for tomorrow morning. Action News will be covering that event, and we'll be bringing you the latest here on tomorrow's broadcast. We're still working on more stories for Action News. Still to come in this half hour. How is the U.S. doing in total medals in the Winter Olympics? We'll take a look at skiing coming up. This is to come during our second half hour of Action News. With all the snow we've gotten recently, you'll hear what you need to know about how to remove it and where to put it. I'll tell you more on that story coming up on Action News at about 5:31. Plus,
and of course, I'll be talking about how much snow we can expect for this event. Look at the temperatures here this morning. Yeah, we were still quite chilly in the low to mid-teens, but I will have much more detail coming up.